Hey there, projection team. I'm coming to you today with what I hope is a fairly succinct and straightforward tutorial here on our new stage display. Now, I should say the stage display that's on stage. It's a new, smaller TV that's going to go next to Tom on stage and display some additional graphics and things like that. Not to be confused with the stage display or what I sometimes refer to as a confidence monitor in the back of the room. So I want to walk you through how things are set up here in ProPresenter. I'm not going to walk through how I've necessarily done everything under the hood. I just want to show you how things are set up within the actual program itself and how you will run it on a Sunday morning, Sunday night. Now, it won't require much additional knowledge on your part as far as how to run things. It's going to be pretty similar, but I want to show you kind of my thought process. I want to also show you how things are going to look on screen before you get to the weekend. This is going live on August 9th, 2020, and so I want to make sure that you've got a good grasp of what's going to happen here. So let's start with the morning services. I'll walk through both the morning and the afternoon service and show you how things are set up on both of those services. So first I'll go here to announcement slide, and the first thing that you'll notice is that there's nothing here in the countdown timer bin, and that's okay. We want that. We don't want anything loaded in there. And I should say this is going to be pretty particular to this weekend. We're going to have to do some more experimenting to see how things are set up, but I just want to show you how that's going to look for this coming weekend, August 9th. So whenever the band finishes rehearsal, or if you finish a service or whatever, come up here and click this welcome slide, and you'll see everything show up here on the screen. Now you can see back here on the within the ProPresenter layout, the interface here, you can see I've got this interesting looking display up. It's a multi-view monitor that shows you up here in the left hand corner. You see the main output that's going over to the video switcher. You also see Tom's display, which is what I'm calling this new stage display here. It's called Tom's display. And then here on the bottom section, you actually see the stage display. Now I set that up so you can kind of see what's happening on all three different outputs. If you don't like that, if you come down here to this multi-view button where this says, come down here and click screens, that'll take you back to your traditional layout there. I know everybody's a little different as far as what they prefer to see, but I'm going to leave it on multi-view. I found that helpful when I was setting up slides. You can do whatever works best for you there. So if you click that first button, this is for both the morning and the afternoon services, you'll see you've got a welcome slide here, and then you've got just the water background here on Tom's display, and of course you've got your regular stage display here. To initiate the countdown timer, instead of going down to the countdown section, I just set up a second slide here. All you have to do at 5 minutes till service time, click that slide, and now you'll see we've got the countdown timer here on the main output, which this is going through the switcher, and then you've also got Tom's countdown timer right here in the middle of the screen, I should say, on Tom's display. And if you look at it live here in the house, you can see that you've what you've actually got set up there. I know that's kind of a small shot there. That might be kind of hard to see as far as the three different screens, but hope that makes sense, and it certainly will whenever you're live. At the end of the countdown sequence, of course, you'll get to 0. It's time for the service to go live. Now, on Sunday morning, what you're going to do is you'll go here to your first intro slide. Now, you'll see that there's a background graphic here in this intro slide. That's okay. When you click on it, what's going to happen is now the screen, the main output will now go to black, and Tom's stage display will have a screen here. You can also see that up in the live shot. That's okay. So now the switcher, you can grab onto the black, you can key out the black color, and then we'll go into the lyrics. Now Tom's display will show a background. It looks a lot like the Saturday night setup here. Tom's display will show a background, and then you'll click through the lyrics like you normally would. The main output, of course, has the lower thirds, and now Tom's display has that regular Saturday night output. The reason we're doing this is because this TV, it's on wheels, and we'll roll it out during the bumper, but this will be sitting center stage back behind the band, so it's just an additional lyrics source for the congregation, and it gives us something to do with the display during the worship set. So now we're going through the song here. We get to the welcome spot. Here's how I want you to navigate the welcome spot for the AM team. You come through here, you're clicking, you're getting to the end of the first song. There you go. Song has finished. Cindy, I don't remember who's doing welcome this weekend, but the host comes up on stage, and as they get to center of the screen, you can hit the very first slide in the welcome spot. And as you see now, Tom's display has the graphic, the main FB Maryville logo, and the main output is blank. Now, I don't know what this allows you to do. Let me back up here. What this allows you to do is then you can run you can run the lower third, and the switcher still, as you can see, the main output hasn't changed from what it normally would be. We just now have a static graphic here in the middle of Tom's display. So you can run whoever's going to be live, if it's Isaiah, if it's Tom, Cindy, whoever. Okay, we'll go back here to our first slide. Now, we also have another anniversary slide that we need to show this weekend for Christy Pacheco. So whenever you show that, you'll see that'll come up on our main screens right there, which we'll want to take full screen live. But Tom's display, I just kept that static. All right, so once we get through the welcome spot, we're going to keep going here in the worship set. So once again, click the first slide in the set. And this will transition Tom's display here to a watery background. And we've got our lyrics as we had before, so on and so forth. Okay, that makes sense. I think that's going to be pretty straightforward to you. I'll also say if you need to play around with the arrangements a little bit, this is not going to affect anything here. Just make sure you've got that intro slide there at the beginning, and we'll all be good. Okay, second song, going to a new background. Of course, keep going through here, so on and so forth. And then we've got our last song here. We've got our final watery background. And we keep walking through that, so on and so forth. That should make sense. Okay, when we get to the end of this song, we're ready for the bumper video. Okay, all you have to do is just hit this first slide in the bumper. And as you'll see, the bumper starts. Now, what I've done here is I've put just the words logo with no background on the center screen. So you've got a little bit of the branding for the series going on while they bring that screen forward. And whenever we go to the live shot, this is what we'll see behind Tom. Once that finishes, you guys can hit the stage display reset, and then we'll go in here to our very first slide. Now, when we go into our first slide here, I'm just going to pause this. When we go into our first slide here, the first slide, you can come into the message, you can click and do what you need to do. I would say for this weekend, you could do that. Never mind, you can go ahead and run Tom's lower third, no problem. And once his lower third wraps up, come over here to the very first slide. Okay, now the first slide here in the set, you'll see you've got your blue output here for the switcher to do its keying. You've also got this, series graphic here. I've done this on purpose with it having no background. It's just a different look that I'm trying for this weekend. And then once we start to click through things, you'll see you've got your lower thirds on your main output, and go ahead and show those lower thirds. And then they're also going to show up on Tom's monitor. Now, I've done something really simple. I've just put a little kind of icon down here on the bottom right, and then I've just done kind of gray text on a black background. I want to go simple out of the gate here, so we don't have too many, moving parts. But as you click along, that's what's going to happen. Now, it's important that you click back after you've shown, a scripture or whatever. It's important that you click here, go back to a landing spot, because that kind of resets the scene. There's some things happening in the background that need to be presented and cleared out, and we're using what are called props, and so as those props come up, they need to be cleared out. So it's just important. If you want to, you can move these things. I know some of you like to move things around in the order that he presents them in the 9 o'clock service, so they're ready to go for the 11 o'clock. Totally makes sense. As that happens, just click and drag these around, but don't delete any of the blank slides because things are being presented, props are being presented with each one of those, and then you clear them out with the blank slides. Okay, so we get down here to the very last scripture in the service, and you get down here to your blank last slide, and you can go ahead, once you transition then into the invitation, come over here, hit this very first slide in the invitation spot, and that's going to clear everything out, which is okay. That's what we want. At that point, Tom is going to mention the prayer slide, and then once he clears that out, you can come here and get ready for the benediction, which will bring up your half screen slide and then just a simple little mid-screen display of the text behind Tom. And now we're ready to do the last song. So the last song in the set, be sure to click that first slide. It's going to reset the screens. And now we're back to our look for our lower thirds. And we've also got them, of course, here on Tom's display running out in the middle of the screen. Okay, good. So that's everything you need to know. Once that service finishes, just come back up here to announcement slide, hit the welcome again, and then you're back to that first scene again. All right, now let's go to the PM service. PM service, it's going to be very, very similar. In fact, I really don't need to click and do everything. I'll just show you how it's going to look. I mean, your countdown is going to look very much the same. Your first song here, when you go into the first song, it's going to look pretty much the same, except really the center display is going to have pretty much the same output as the main screens. Again, whenever you get to this section, go ahead and hit this first slide here. You can also come in. It's important to hit the first slide, and then if you want to bring in this, full screen FB Maryville logo, go for it. Of course, Christie's 15-year anniversary, you want to show that. You still have the FB Maryville display on Tom's center screen. Come back here, you're going to be reset then for your worship. And then whenever we get down here to the end, we've got our last song. Same thing's going to happen. Hit your bumper video there. And then when you go into the message, just hit that first screen. As you can see, there's a lot going on here with this first screen. Lots of little cues, so that's very important to hit that. And then as we go through, you're going to see, all of these things. Okay, hope that makes sense. And now, here at the end, once you get to the last screen, you've got your slide here. You can kind of see all the different outputs. Go again, hit that middle, hit that end screen there, and then you can bring up the prayer slide. And then you can, for Saturday night, go ahead and hit this as you're coming from the invitation into benediction. Go ahead and hit the full screen logo, series logo, and then you can bring up his word, last word, and then transition just like we've been doing into the last song, so on and so forth. Once you finish, go back up to the announcement slides, hit welcome. And there you go. So that was a lot of information in a medium amount of time. If you have questions about this, feel free to hit me up. At some point, I'll do a more in-depth video as far as what's going on behind the scenes there. I'm not really going to expect you to know that or to execute that necessarily, but it's good to know what's happening under the hood. There's a lot of power here in ProPresenter 7, and we're experimenting, so don't assume that we're the experts on this yet. There's a lot of experimentation happening here, but we're just trying something new, trying to keep things fresh, and trying to allow our teaching time, our singing time to be as effective as possible. Thanks so much, guys, and let me know if you have any questions.